Since the collaboration with Hasselblad, Oppo added a so-called master mode. At the beginning it was just a glorified or rebranding or naming of a pro photo mode, but it has become over the time much more, with also adding an auto mode being like a separate kind of photo taking mode. So instead of like taking out your phone and taking a snapshot, you go to the master mode and you do photography. And why is that the case? Let's find out here on my Find X8 Ultra, and let's get started. So first of all, you have to go to the master mode. You open up your camera application, then you scroll all the way to the left, and there you have your master mode. And as you can see here, it's divided into auto mode and pro mode. Pro mode gives you all what you need for taking photos, like shutter speed, like ISO, EV control, autofocus with numbers and such things. But it also has some other cool things like profiles now built into the Find X8 Ultra, like fresh, standard, of course, emerald, clear, and you can see how the colors change, so you get a live preview even on how it will look like. Serenity, natural, food, cool, warm, vibrant, faded, black and white, mono, cyberpunk, lots more. The cool thing is you can see behind or under all of those you have some other options that you can set up, like for example soft light, tonality, saturation, cold warm, cyan magenta, sharpness and vignetting that you can just turn on. Then you have here misty, glowy, dreamy, as well as presets available. And let's go into the normal mode, the standard mode, and I will show you some shots and why I think this is the DSLM replacement or the DSLM mode for the Oppo. So let's dig into the photos. Well, let's check out the photos, and we start off with the normal shot here on the Find X8 Ultra. 23mm as you see here, ISO 50, and this is what you can expect from the Oppo. It has some natural colors for sure, but strong HDR. As soon as you switch to the master mode, this is the photo that you will get. Same position, you can see not much has changed, even like the clouds are on the same position, but you can see way less saturated sky there. The blue is much different there, and we have much more shadows here, and we have a slight vignetting, so we have like a little bit of more brighter spot here, and to the corners it's getting a little bit darker. And the other thing that you will notice when you zoom in a little bit, look at the tree here, look at the rooftop, look at the tiles there everywhere, and the little stones. And now let's go into this one here and let's compare. You can see it's not only very dark there, but it's also a little bit less sharpened up. So it is appearing a bit less sharper, but therefore a little bit more natural in this case. So this is the overall tone that you will see throughout this photo comparison. This is a normal selfie that I took with the main camera sensor, because the selfie cam does not have a master mode. You can only use the back-facing cameras here. I cropped into 35mm with the main cam. This is the shot that you will get, and this is the one that you get with the master mode. As you can see here, the shadows are much darker there. So here it's brightening the shadows there. The spots here are brighter, and here everything is a bit darker. You have this vignetting, and it's like adding a little bit of style to the picture by default. And yes, you have those various different settings that you can play around with, like the sharpness that you can put up a little bit there, but I use the default settings because I think the default settings are the ones that are working the best, but you can tweak it like to your liking. If you don't like the vignetting, for example, you can turn off the vignetting. And the same goes for colors. You can like punch in the colors a little bit more if you think they're a little bit too less punchy, but I think they're doing quite a good job. You can see it's brighter here and it's not so over punched. Here it's like a bit darker. And sharpness level, here you can see me in full screen with the master mode, and here you can see me quite a bit sharpened up in the auto mode there. So yes, the master mode is fixing maybe over sharpening that some people dislike. Then we have this shot in the master mode. Look at the detail level here and the HDR, contrast levels and so on. It looks pretty much taken from a DSLM-like camera, 70mm 3x zoom. And this one is the shot with the auto mode. And here you can clearly see it is way sharper, way more contrasty, and still has a little bit of an overexposure, I would say, but way sharper here with details that here look a bit washed out, because it is actually more what the optical camera would capture and DSLM would also capture in this regard. So this is a big difference there. Which of those images do you prefer? And then we have another shot here just to show you there is detail, definitely, because the lenses have those details, but it's like more the chromatic aberrations are more in there, they're not corrected so much, such things, and it's not overdoing it with colors, which is like interesting. Then we can switch through different other filters that I tried out here, and I'm just showing you a few of them and how they look different. Like this is the vivid one for sure. And then we have like this one, I think this is a clear one or nostalgic like kind of one. Then we have this one here, and then we have this one here. And this is the natural, so-called natural look or profile that you can choose there. And actually I thought, quite interesting. Maybe I will try this natural against the other smartphone that has a size natural. So I shot this shot here with the ultra wide angle now on the Oppo, and this shot with the Vivo X100 Ultra. It's called size natural, but you can see, boom, chakalaka. What kind of difference do we have here in terms of colors? It's like way more colors on the Vivo, and yeah, one would call it like desaturated here. And yeah, some people say, oh, it's more natural looking. Nah, not so much. I will show you in a bit that it is really desaturated. This one looks like a smartphone photo on the Vivo, to be honest, even though it's like size natural. It is better HDR, it's brightening up the shadows, as you can see here, and it is sharpening everything a little bit more up. And this shot would work, I think, a little bit better if it would not have like this slightly overexposure there, better HDR and a bit more colors, I think. And this is exactly what I was doing here as well. I was comparing the natural mode that, in my opinion, doesn't really look natural, because the only thing that it's doing is like pulling the color slide a little bit down, so saturation a bit down. So this is like the dandelion. The dandelion should be yellow and real powerful yellow, but it's not. It's like a desaturated kind of yellow. And this is the one that I took with the normal, without any filter on master mode. And I think this one looks way better and more realistic on the Find X8 Ultra when you use this mode instead of the natural mode that, yeah, it's too desaturated here. This one is actually the color that I saw with my own eyes. A bit more contrast maybe as well there. But yes, this is the reason why I, from now on, will stick to this mode. They are nice to play around with other filters if you want to create a specific mood in certain situations, and the black and white filters are also quite interesting, and there's, I think, even a film filter inside there as well. Very interesting, but I will stick to this one here because I think this one is the best. And yeah, we have like a little pond, I would say, there, and you can see also like this, I try to be a bit of an artsy style photo. And then we have a zoom, because there's a limitation with the master mode, because you can only zoom in 10x, cannot go further than 10x. So this is 10x here right now, as you see, and the deepness, sharpness level reminds me a bit of the Xiaomi 15 Ultra actually, because it's not like getting too much contrast in, it's not fixing too much the chromatic aberrations and such things, and not sharpening up too much, as you can see here. Still I can see lots of details there, but it's no comparison to the roughly 10x, it's a bit more than here, on the normal mode. As you can see, it's way more contrasty and way more detailed there as well. It's fixing chromatic aberrations much more aggressively, and I can even zoom in further, as you can see, and it's still looking okayish, like even 120 times is possible there. On this is like super crazy 120 times, as you see here. In any way, yes, the master mode has its limit when it comes to zoom, limited to 10 times zoom. So 230, roughly 233 millimeter. Now I photographed Timmy here as well to show you another thing that happens at 35 millimeter that I showed you already with the human subjects. It's not over sharpening faces and so on, but it gives you a nice background blur still. And this is not doing with a portrait mode, because the master mode doesn't have a portrait mode and it doesn't apply a fake bokeh. It is natural bokeh that we can see here, which I really like. And yeah, it is DSLM-like, I would say. Then the 70mm, also in this situation, it is not brightening up here the arc so much. It is like solely focusing here, even though a bit overexposing there. So acting like a real camera would in this case. And you can get nice shots out of it, like just like this shot here, for example, of the Citadel, one of the Citadel buildings there with the cannon there in the foreground, nice and sharp, and the nice bokeh that you have here. And I really, really like this shot because it gives, with the vignetting, gives it a bit of character, and also with the colors that we have here, that it look maybe the blue a little bit desaturated, but actually it was like such a day. It is adding a bit of a mood to the image, and this is something that a lot of people who like to play around with Xiaomi phones and the Leica authentic look also get. It's like the mood, and this is also, you get a mood here with this picture, but it's a different mood than Leica authentic that is highly contrast based. This is giving us the true Hasselblad kind of mood that I really like, in comparison to the auto mode, which is more like of a smartphone interpretation of how Hasselblad would handle smartphone photography. This is more how Hasselblad would handle a DSLM-like camera shot. And it's looking pretty nice. It reminds me of the same way that Leica Vibrant is more for the smartphone look, and Leica Authentic more for an authentic kind of Leica vibe and look. So very, very nice. And even fast shutter speed. So the auto mode has already very good fast shutter speed. Also this one here, capturing at 10 times a bird like starting to fly off. You can see it is not perfectly sharp because we don't have the over sharpening algorithms there, but you can see his one wing there like in the flight. You can see it's like it's almost stopped there in flight, which is quite interesting. And yeah, nice colors you get, like even such things look pretty nice because of the good contrast that we have there, the good deep green levels that we have there, that really give you maybe not the most accurate kind of photo, not the most authentic kind of photo, but Leica authentic on the Xiaomi side, for example, is also not giving you the most authentic kind of photo, but it gives you the feeling, or a feeling of that day that is accurate, that represents what you saw with your own eyes, which is, I think, pretty cool. And yeah, this one has a little bit less vignetting here because I cropped in a little bit. So they have also like calculated in this. So if you're using it at 23mm, it has more vignetting than at 47mm. And then here's Timmy as well. Again, also I think a nice shot there. You can see with the vignetting and the style. I like this style, I have to say. I like those stylized kind of cameras because, yeah, they don't look like the high contrast and everything more flatter kind of look that we know from smartphones that I showed you earlier, and that Oppo is also doing in the normal mode. But this one is more like a DSLM-like mode. It gives you a vibe of a real camera, and this is, I think, very interesting for some people, because you don't have to buy a real camera that is very expensive if you bought already a very expensive smartphone that has like a Hasselblad, Leica or a Zeiss kind of branding. So very cool indeed. And then another example on how they handle zoom shots. This is 10 times zoom without the AI trickery that Oppo is using in the normal mode. On the master mode, they're using a little bit there maybe, but not much. You can see like we have like this bit of hazy look. You can still read, the optics are pretty good, everything in here, but it's like not overdoing this processing so much. And you will see in a second what I mean when I go in here, because this is the normal mode. Yes, it's cropped in a little bit more, 300mm here, but this is a huge difference. You can see this haze is gone. Everything is more punchy and contrasty, and everything is a bit more sharpened up. You can clearly see here that this one and the processing that was happening there completely different to here, like the white border around the P symbol here for the parking spot, and compare it with this one here that is like almost like the white is not straight, as you can see, because like AI was reconstructing this sign, and the same goes for reconstructing everything here in terms of detail. I think Oppo is doing a fine job with its AI. Also here, like the look at the stones here and the in-betweens and compare it with this one here. This is more natural looking here than this, where clearly AI had its fingers inside here. But yeah, it is amazing what they're doing with AI, and I think Oppo is doing very good with AI. It's not looking too artificial most of the time, but if you don't like this processed look, it's very cool to know that, yeah, even if you don't have an option to turn it off, you can just go into master mode and get a shot like this, which is like maybe not perfect, but this is what cameras are. They are not like always perfect in taking photos. Sometimes a little overblown, but this is also what gives a camera or a photo a specific kind of character, because if all the camera photos are like super highly processed like this coming out of camera, then they lose a little bit of what makes photography fun, I think. So this is everything for this video. What do you think about those photos that I took with the master mode? Are you willing to use this master mode a little bit more often to get a specific mood in your photos, to get like those little imperfections that cameras are known to have, to stylize and give it a bit more of a character? Are you willing to do this? Write it on the comment section. That's everything. Until the next time. Bye.